Us, I am George. Bitcoin holders, get ready because there are some very bullish news and there's some big things happening that's about to happen, and it's very exciting. So that's why I'm streaming tonight. I want to give you guys a big update on some of this bullish news that was just announced this afternoon, and also give you an update on this F2 pool situation, because I believe that is also very bullish news, and I'm going to let you guys connect the dots and see whether or not what we did actually made a difference. So, a lot of exciting stuff. As always, I have these streams 11 a.m. Central Standard Time in the morning, but I tend to have them at night now too, around 8 o'clock, 8:30. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are new, so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, and make sure you hit that notification bell and follow me on Twitter and Facebook. All right, those of you guys that's already in the chat, welcome as always. Let's get started. There's so much stuff. There's so much stuff to share. The first thing I want to share, of course, is this. Bitcoin's price is now at $36,000. So yes, since this morning, since last night, things have been getting wild. Not only for Bitcoin. Now, obviously, it's a step in the right direction, not at 40,000 yet, but it's definitely moving up. And the thing is, what's strange about this is, it's not so much, if you look at the volume, it's not so much that the buying volume increased. It's more so the selling volume decreased. And I do believe that we did help contribute to that and make that happen. But besides Bitcoin, it's not just Bitcoin. Ethereum is on an absolute tear, basically forming a new high above 1,500 today. And even XRP is up 7%. Polkadot 5, Cardano 5, Litecoin is trying to catch up 11. You know, as you can see, pretty much across the board, everything is in green. And today is overall a pretty darn good day. Market cap is approaching 1.1 trillion again. We were just at 1, barely 1 last night, and now we're at 1.1, right? So obviously today is a very good day. Let me start with the bullish news first, then give you a big update on this F2 pool situation. The biggest thing has to be this. Just like my title, my thumbnail gives you a preview. Jeff Bezos, all of a sudden, thank you for that super chat. Jeff Bezos all of a sudden shocked the world and said he is stepping down as CEO. One of the biggest companies on earth, one of the most powerful men on earth in terms of, at least for big business. Amazon is the third largest company in the world. Jeff Bezos was the richest man on earth until Elon surpassed him. But still, all of a sudden, he's like, well, I'm done. I'm stepping down. And people are like wondering why. Basically, he gave reasons like, yeah, he just wants to enjoy his money at this point. He basically lost motivation to keep going. And I don't blame him, since he's already worth close to $200 billion. Yeah, so it's kind of hard to keep yourself motivated when you're that rich. But anyways, that's not the bullish news. The bullish news is who is replacing him. And that is the guy that's in charge of AWS right now, Andy Jassy. Now, Andy Jassy is a blockchain and crypto guy, right? Not 100% all gung-ho, but a lot of people have connected the dots, because AWS does have managed blockchain services, right? So for people that want to run a Hyperledger or a Ethereum node, they can do so on Amazon without very easily, and just spin it up for testing, testnet reasons, testbed for dApps, or just if you actually want to run a node, you can do so. And you know what? Andy is the one that was in charge of this, because he was in charge of AWS. So obviously, he is a guy that is really technical, right? Especially with cloud. And of course, you know that he's familiar with decentralization, because that is the next evolution, right? Now, in the past, he has said, now when I say the past, about 2-3 years ago, he has said that there's some fascinating things with blockchain that's coming, but it's not quite yet ready for prime time, especially on Amazon scale. But he is familiar. He knows what's going on, right? And of course, some of his competitors, even though they don't compete directly head on, but some of the biggest companies out there, like Facebook, is going all out, right? Facebook still plans on releasing their DEM in 2021, right? And Facebook is one of the top 5 companies of the world too. When you look at tech companies of the world, right? Who? It's basically everyone we know. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, right? Facebook, Google, they're all in there. They're all competing and they're all looking for ways to up each other, even though they're kind of in different categories. They kind of are and they kind of aren't, right? Because Amazon, even though we may think of them as the big company that provides warehouses and all this nice items that gets shipped to you for basically free in 1 or 2 days, but they also have a big cloud business, AWS, that powers basically the servers of a lot of major corporations. So they're all entwined. They're all competing. Microsoft has Azure. That's their cloud. Google has their cloud, right? Apple has their iCloud. That's not for enterprises, but they do have their own. And of course, Facebook has their own, right? So they're all competing. So everyone's guessing the next move for Amazon. Will Andy embrace Bitcoin and crypto? That's very, very, very likely. Very likely. Maybe not all out, but a natural transition is to accept Bitcoin and crypto as payment, because that has been rumored for a very, very long time. Very long time. A lot of people have been talking about how... Wait, did something happen to Joe Rogan? I don't know if you guys are trolling or what, but yeah, let's cool it down in the chat. I'll look at that during Q&A. But it's been rumored for a long time that Amazon is set to open payments and embrace Bitcoin. But that hasn't happened, right? We've been hearing about that for years, but now it could be a real reality. It's a really easy thing. It's very easy to do now, and it's really widely accepted, especially when you have Square's Cash App, you have PayPal, right? You could utilize PayPal to do so, and there's other methods to do so, right? But it just makes a whole lot of sense that Amazon embraces blockchain, crypto, Bitcoin going forward. So this is definitely very big, very exciting. And who knows, maybe Andy Jassy will be attending tomorrow's conference, Bitcoin for Corporations. Who knows? He may be attending so he could learn a thing or two from Michael Saylor about what's happening, right? What's going on. And maybe we'll even see Amazon spend some of their cash on Bitcoin. Amazon has a ton of cash on hand. I think last time I read their figures, over 50 billion in cash just sitting there, right? So all these tech companies have so much. Appreciate it, Stefan. So yeah, there's a lot of things coming. So this is number one. This is very, very, very big, right? Very big, and nothing concrete yet, but you have a pro blockchain, pro crypto guy that will be the new CEO of the 3rd largest company in the world, right? Most likely he's going to look into this. So that's number one. And that's not all. There's so much going on, right? Here's another one. So Grayscale may be jumping the next phase of Bitcoin bull run. So now that I'm connecting the dots, I don't think anything is a coincidence anymore. So okay. Remember, like Michael Saylor, he decided to pick Bitcoin for corporations, right? I always thought it was weird. Why did he pick the 3rd? Why February 3rd? Why not February 1st, the start of the month? Why right in the middle of the month? Now, after reading this, it makes a whole lot of sense. So Grayscale locks up ends on Wednesday, and that's when they actually release new shares for their trust. And according to history, whenever they do that, that usually spurs up a ton of new buying. So according to this, what Grayscale does with their trust is, for people to buy the GBDC, right, there's like a premium involved. So whenever that premium goes up, right? It makes it harder for institutional investors to buy it because they're pretty much getting ripped off. And the premium could go up as high as 40%, which means they're overpaying by 40%. So what they do is they basically wait until that comes down before releasing new shares. And right now the premium is very low, about 6.5%. And that's usually when they open up more shares, and then it causes an influx of new buying, right? And then it jumpstarts a huge bull run. At least according to this, I wasn't familiar with this. I just knew that people were buying Grayscale and buying the Bitcoin Trust hands over fist, right? But I didn't know this, but people have studied it. This is what traditionally happens in the past. And guess what? This starts tomorrow. So the 3rd. So as you can see, why did Michael Saylor pick the 3rd? Maybe because he knew this was coming and he wanted Bitcoin to shine in front of all these corporations, right? He didn't want to pick a date where Bitcoin was showing weakness. He wanted to show a date where people are, where Bitcoin is going up, right? So again, none of these things are really obvious, if you just read it one by one. But if you start connecting the dots, they all kind of intertwine. And I think this also has to do with F2 pool too. I honestly think this could have something to do with it. And I'm gonna get to that a little bit. Jason, appreciate the super chat. I got more to share with you about that situation. So yeah, tomorrow's an important day. Tomorrow's a very important day, and it could also be why Bitcoin started going up today because of this. But I'll get to that now. Other bullish news. Guess what? Recently, there was a massive Coinbase outflow of roughly around 14,000 Bitcoins. And people are speculating, well, this has to be going to an institutional investor. That is one big chunk of Bitcoin going out. And many are speculating is Guggenheim. Scott Miner has been on record saying that he's been trying to get SEC approval and been trying to buy Bitcoin since it was 10,000. Now, when he conducted an interview when Bitcoin's around 20,000, he even admitted that he did not get approval yet. He's still waiting. And that's why I believe he started causing some FUD when Bitcoin's around 40,000 and 30,000. He was saying how he thinks Bitcoin can fall back to 20,000. And I connected the dots again because I'm thinking, well, he wants the price to go down so that his firm could buy more Bitcoins, right? So the original plan was to buy about $500 million worth of Bitcoin. And if you do the math, about 14,000 Bitcoins equates to about 500 millions. So a lot of people think that this is 14,000, roughly $500 million going to Guggenheim. And that is also very bullish. Obviously, this is not the biggest purchase, but $500 million going to Guggenheim, one of the biggest investment companies within the United States. This is a big endorsement. It's one thing to say that you're trying to buy, like what Scott Miner said before, but now to actually do it, this shows you institutional adoption just keeps going up and up and up and up. And I haven't shown you guys this in a while. But yeah, let me show you this list real quick. MicroStrategy, of course, purchased another 10 million. So now they're up to 71,000 Bitcoins. Galaxy Digital still a lot at 16,000. But recently, even Mara, which is a mining company, right? They bought some more, 4,800 Bitcoins, and you could go down the list, right? But there's a lot of people buying. And where is it? Rougher Investments. They're also another one that joined the party recently. They bought $744 million worth of Bitcoin. They didn't disclose it until recently. They bought it in November, and that already more than doubled, right, to $1.6 billion. And then, of course, you got Grayscale, and you got all these Bitcoin funds and all these other funds, right? Everything is jumping up sky high, and Guggenheim is about to join the party, right? So this is also very bullish. Of course, not confirmed yet, but people are connecting the dots, like I said. And yeah, this also is very, very, very good. Here's the thing. So this happened a few days ago, right? So this happened January 31st. So this was when Bitcoin was a little bit lower, right? Around 33,000. So why did this happen when it was around 33,000 and not around now, right? So See, if you connect the dots here, it's making a whole lot of sense. You know, did they happen to know that was the best time to buy Bitcoin because Bitcoin couldn't go any lower, or did have something have to do with, you know, everything that was going on in terms of price suppression, right? It just makes you wonder. It just makes you wonder if this is all somehow connected, right? And all right, so the last thing I want to talk about is, of course, this situation with F2 pool, which I covered this morning and I covered yesterday and so forth, right? So this morning I talked about how Chung Wang of F2 pool, he started taking things more seriously, but he's still not sympathetic. He's still not remorseful. He just started removing tweets because he realized that he was looking like an idiot and causing a whole lot of confusion. But he's still being arrogant, and you know, now there's some confusion whether or not the outflows from F2 pool was from their own wallet or from other miners, right? But it was still very suspicious, very, very suspicious indeed that the outflow was so massive just from F2 pool and from no other mining pools out there, just from them. And that's it, right? So one of the things I suggested is, how do we take powers away from F2 pool, right? Well, one way is to get people to get off their mining pool. Now, I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but I was checking this earlier today, and their mining pool hash rate has dropped significantly from yesterday. In fact, 3% less. So much so that no, I'm wrong. I mistake. It was over 3%. In fact, because they dropped so much, BTC.com has overtaken them as the largest mining pool. So, did we have something to do with that? Did this awareness have something to do with that? I think so. I think we all caused such a fuss and brought this to many people's attention that it actually did affect them in a big way. So, their pool percentage dropped over 3% within one day, and now they have become the second largest. That's a big deal. That doesn't happen very often. So yeah, I think number one, this probably made Chung a little bit more serious about the whole situation, right? Now, here's the other thing I want to show you. Besides the hash rate go down, you might be thinking, oh, so what, right? But let me show you something that I think make you guys think a little bit. So this is the chart. Let me go back to the day. So this is what you guys are used to. And let me move my camera, my face out of the way so you guys could get a bigger picture here. So this is what I've been showing you guys for the past few days, right? And I know a lot of people have been talking about it. Some people have taken credit without saying that I introduced it, but whatever, right? As long as people know about it, and it has been spreading for a lot. It has been spreading everywhere, right? So, you know, looking at this is broken down into days, so you don't really notice it. So I'm like, okay, let's break it down to hour. Specifically, I want to see what has happened today, right? I'll just go back a few days. But you could see that starting February 2nd, which is today, the outflow from F2 pool has dropped significantly, especially within the last few hours. It is very, very low compared to yesterday and compared to the day before, right? When Bitcoin hit 38,000 because of Elon, his Elon pump, and look at how much was sold, right? So, did we have something to do with it? Is it just a coincidence? All of a sudden, they started outflowing or selling less, or the miners started selling less, or, you know, or did we have something to do with that? I think we did. I don't think this is a coincidence, right? So overall, I think getting the attention out has worked, has really made people question F2 pool and question Chung and question what was going on, right? So I think this shows you that this all intertwined, this is all connected, right? That's why I said at the beginning of the stream that I'm looking at the volume for Bitcoin. It's not so much that the green bars, the candlesticks for buying volume increased dramatically. it's the number of red that has decreased dramatically. That's why Bitcoin is going up, because there's no more price suppression. There's no selling going on right now. And I think FT Pool has a lot to do with it, because this has dropped down significantly. Rather than sell thousands, they're now selling hundreds per hour. So I think that makes a big, big difference, right? So is this all connected? Is it because it's all leading up to the Bitcoin for corporations tomorrow? Or is it leading up to Grayscale's, trust issuing tomorrow? Or is it because Guggenheim finally bought their $500 million worth of Bitcoin? So it makes you wonder, are we just all being played right now, right? Are these guys really, masterminding this huge timeline behind the scenes, and we're just in it for the ride? I don't know. It just seems too much of a coincidence for all this to be happening. But whatever. We're in it for a ride, and we're going in the right direction, and that's what we're all happy about, right? So overall, things are looking pretty good, not only for Bitcoin, but also Ethereum, and also all these other altcoins. Oh, and lastly, I found this article because I did talk about yesterday's video. I talked about when I was going through CMC, I talked about Luna being one of those good projects that caught my eye. And I didn't know this until I just saw this, that Galaxy Digital, led by Mike Novogratz, just invested $25 million into them. And Luna has been an absolute terror. And that's because the founders basically run some big e-retail stores in South Korea. They are coming out with stable coins like Terra USA, Terra KRW, and so forth. But they already have a popular app. They have a lot of other different apps that all utilize this stable coin. And they have a lot of traction. So obviously Galaxy Digital also believes in them. So Luna is actually looking like a very good project. Now, usually I don't get excited about stablecoin makers, but they're really beyond just creating stable coins. So I just want to bring that out to you guys. I know right now is a time where a lot of people, I even see in the stream, a lot of people are starting to look at altcoins, right? And some still remember back in 2017, 2018 and getting burned from that. And I'm one of them too. I remember a lot of projects that I thought was great. I recommended, and they all turned out to be bad. But there are some that were good and they held, and they're some of the biggest projects today, right? So right now, I do think I put out a poll on Twitter asking, how you guys felt about more dedicated videos about altcoins. And a lot of people said yes. So I'm going to start doing that more. I've been spending a lot more time researching a lot of these altcoins, some that I have heard of from years ago that really haven't changed, and they just happen to have a large following, so they're still doing very well. But there are a lot of new ones out there that actually have a lot of traction, true adoption, and people are just not paying attention. I actually did find one that I need to do more research on that I think is absolutely fantastic, and they could just dominate the market. They could really, really dominate. And they're relatively low in market cap too, but I need to do more research on them. But I absolutely love this project. But the more I research, the more I find that there are projects like that have true adoption, that can really stand on their own, and they're not just like led by the overall market. And that's what's exciting about the market right now is. So I'm definitely going to cover a lot more altcoins going forward. Just want to let you guys know. But of course, the name of the game is still Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is going to lead the market, and we definitely want to see Bitcoin go higher. So it's definitely not Neblio, Mike. I've always been negative on Neblio for good reason. So, okay, I'm going to turn you guys for a quick Q&A and let you guys go. Yeah, Telcoin is not one of them either. There's a lot over the years. Some of them is very easy. You just think about it logically, like what they're trying to do, and it doesn't make any sense, or it's stupid, or it can never take off, right? So some are easy to pick out, some are not so much, but Telcoin was one of them. And what's the other one? That was Dent was another one that was very hyped up. Substratum. I mean, there was so many. But yeah, I need to move my camera again. No, Sandman, I did not fall back in love with EOS. In fact, I said, get rid of it. Get rid of it fast. After Dan left, which is not too long ago, I said, get rid of, dump that project because he has shown that he can't stay with any project longer than 3 years. And you know what? He's always leaving projects unfinished, and EOS is definitely unfinished. So I am very, very off the EOS bandwagon. What do you think about the XRP pump and dump? I mean, I expected it. I told you guys. You know, a lot of people was hopeful because XRP hovered stable around like 30 cents. Then it started going up because there's one massive pump group that said, hey, we have a set time. We'll go pump XRP. And I said, it's going to be one big dump fest. All right. The organizers of that just want people to drive the price up first. When it starts and they pretend like they're buying, they just go dump on everyone. That's exactly what happened. Right. So even though right now it's about 37 cents, 38 cents, it would not surprise me if it falls back to 30 cents, right? So those pump groups, you just got to watch out, man. You got to watch out. One person purchased $2 billion worth of Dogecoin. I have a hard time believing that. Because if they did, I think Dogecoin go up a lot more. Or maybe it happened, which is why it's at 3 cents. But that seems to be hard to believe. Because if they purchase 2 billion, Dogecoin will be a lot higher. Because the overall market cap is only 4 billion. So I don't think that's true. Ali, Voyager to $15 by year end. Voyager is a project I've come to love. Mostly because, you know what? When their app is working, and I'll say when it's working because it was down recently due to the massive amount of people coming in. But Voyager seems solid. They really seem solid. They seem to be a very good Coinbase alternative, and in some ways they're even better. They give you interest on your holdings, and you can buy in their app. And you know, they have a great team, a stellar team. They're publicly traded. They're the complete project, so they could definitely move up a lot more from here. When I covered them, they were like 70, 80 cents, so now they moved up a lot higher. But being at 600 million, you know what? They definitely have a lot more room to grow. Yeah, a lot of the people I recommended for Voyager, they're still on the list. StormX, no, I don't like them at all. I recommended Storm before they call themselves StormX, and that's because Charles Hodgkinson was actually advisor to the team, and they were trying to get into micro gigs and micro economy and so forth, right? But they just turned themselves into like a coupon vendor. So I got off of Storm a long time ago. Jason, I appreciate that. Boston, Nulls deep or Nulls sleep? How's your cards, by the way? Aren't you selling cards on IG? Nulls, this morning someone asked me about the pump. And they were pumped, and then unfortunately they didn't hold the pump. They started coming down. But, you know, Nulls is still executing. They're onboarding new projects, like, seemingly every week. So they're one project that is still executing. Unfortunately, because of their market cap, no one is paying attention. No one is really clinging on to their nulls at this point, right? But the good thing is they are executing, so when people pay attention finally and realize how good they are, it's going to come back up. And another thing that really helps it, just between us, is the fact that they are on Binance. All the coins I've noticed that have pumped up and held and has just kept gaining, like 99% of them are on Binance, list on Binance. The Binance effect is real. So that's another thing that definitely helps nulls and a lot of other projects that are listed on nulls. It's funny, like something like Uniswap, you would figure it's a DEX, right? It could stand on its own. But the Uni token is on Binance and on all these other exchanges. It makes you wonder if they weren't on all these centralized exchanges, whether or not they would have grown this big at all, right? So the Binance effect is definitely still real. And unfortunately for those of us in the US, we're not We're not able to participate in that anymore. No, Ash, I hate Coinbase, and I hate Coinbase Pro for their policy of just banning people left and right. And so, no, I don't agree with that. Well, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. I mean, cards are still hot. Sports cards are really, really hot. So if you've been doing that for a while, you've probably been banking it with cards. So low roller, man. Just move on. Move on. I tend to think you always like come up with this one topic in your head, like when it was lottery or something. You just keep saying the same thing over and over and over and over. I I don't really care if it's true or not. I don't believe it. There's no way that someone bought $2 billion worth of Dogecoin when the market cap is only 4 billion. That's just not possible. So something's wrong with that. And even if it is, so what? It happened. So just move on. You know, a lot of people have been asking about NBA Top Shots, which I still don't like. I like physical stuff for collectibles, but I could see how it's growing. It's NFTs, right? For basically NBA plays, and some of them have been selling like crazy. Some like crazy. Um, yeah, like $75,000, $100,000. It's insane. So obviously there is a market for that, right? There's obviously a market for that. Kind of shows you where NFTs will go in the future. So, Jordan, you want to know about my academy? Is it possible to get one-on-one session with you? That's more for Patreon. Um, you know, for my Patreon members and for my Teachable page, you know, there's an option, obviously. There's a private Discord that I'm on occasionally, but I try to answer as much as possible. But if you want a true one-on-one session, I do have a level for that in Patreon, so you could definitely check it out. Justin Brown asks, what's FMK? I don't know what FMK means. ADA, Link, and Litecoin. Out of the three, I like Chainlink the best. Then Cardano, then Litecoin. And Litecoin comes at a distant third. So Chainlink is a necessity for DeFi and for a lot of other dApps because of their Oracle setup. And Cardano is just loved by so many, so they're not going to go away anytime soon. And when they are finally done, we'll see how good Charles is at marketing it. But so yeah, both of those are great projects, but Litecoin, I'm not a fan of. AirSwap? No. No one cares about AirSwap anymore because of DEXs. When you have DEXs, you don't need something like AirSwap. Why are people getting banned from Coinbase, you ask? Well, I don't know. I don't. They just don't do that sometimes. I mean, they don't tell you. Sometimes you just get banned and you have no idea why. Pivx? No. What are you guys just like scrolling through like hot coins from 2017? A lot of these are dead. Pivx is one of them. What are you guys doing? Are you guys just like digging through page 5 and looking for things? No. There's plenty of good stuff even on page 1 that I think a lot of people are missing out on. Even page 1, you know, bottom page 1, page 2, there's a lot of juicy projects. So if you guys are digging for altcoins, stop trying to find like the next gem that's going to go up like 10,000% overnight, right? It's unlikely. Look for good ones that have good growth, good teams, right? And good traction. But, you know, stop. I find like all these ones that some people are bringing up are the ones that kind of died years ago. What else? Dent? No, not Dent. What else? Let's do page 3 like the good old days. No, I'm gonna stop. Doing that. Brandon asked Aave and Sushi. I like both. I like Uniswap better than Sushi, but I brought up this morning, Sushi has a ton of liquidity. And they're not far off from Uniswap. So you can see Uniswap has 3.3 billion, SushiSwap is 2.6 billion. So they're not far off from each other. So Sushi definitely has a ton of traction, been gaining a lot more traction after the merger with Yearn Finance, and they're doing very good. So I like Sushi, I like Uniswap, I like Aave. Aave, you know, one of the biggest lending companies out there. They're really good at what they do. So yeah. Band or Link? Go with Link. Band does not have the traction anymore. Link has all the traction. Just because you get number 2 doesn't mean it's going to be better than number 1. And in the case of oracles, that's why Link is so dominant, because they have a robust and reliable network that people trust. And when you have DeFi, you need to have accurate data all the time. It can't be wrong or they will get hacked. So very, very important. That's why you want to go with Chainlink. What, Justin, can you explain 2 things? What is WSB coin BS? That's just a joke. That's not a coin. And what is the function of a native token on DeFi projects? They're mostly for governance. And also look for LRC plug at DeFi Pulse. So governance meaning that you can vote on what the project is going to do, like Uniswap, Uni, and Sushi, and so forth. But Uniswap is building more function in their version 3. So there's going to be a little bit more. I don't know quite details, but they're trying to build more reasons why you want to hold on to them. And Loopring I already talked about this morning. Loopring is not in the business of DEXs. They create protocol for DEXs. That's where the confusion comes in, unless they actually have their own DEX. But I checked it out and they didn't. So yeah, it's a little weird. But someone asked me about Loopring. They're in the business of making this protocol for DEXs to adopt, but I haven't had a chance to look. I don't know who is actually using their protocol at this point. So I have to spend more time on it. Play smooth piano. What do you do full time? This is what I do full time. YouTube. I have 2 channels. I have more than 2 channels, but the ones I concentrate on is this, CryptosRUs, and Drivers Only, which is a car channel, and I alternate between the 2. The favorite DEX is Uniswap. The favorite one is Uniswap. Polkadot is a good one. I like Polkadot. Gavin Wood is really, really good at what he does. People, I didn't know this, and I think most people don't know this. Solidity, you know, the language behind Ethereum, was created by Gavin Wood. And he also wrote the yellow paper for the Ethereum virtual machine, too, for smart contracts. So you could argue that he created the best parts of Ethereum. And he's behind Polkadot and also Kusama. So Polkadot is up here for a reason. My only regret is I didn't pick them up earlier. I didn't really notice them until they started flying the top, 15. And then when they got really big, and they recently pumped up a lot too, right? So that kind of shows you sometimes you go in number 2, it's not better than number 1. And when I say number 2, I mean Kusama, because a lot of people jumped on Kusama because they thought it was a cheaper version of Polkadot, but Polkadot surpassed them in performance. Morningwood, opinion on XLM, why is it so underrated? Why do you think it's underrated? Because I don't think it's underrated. So tell me why you think it's underrated. VeChain is an awesome company. Biggest project by far in China. I don't care what market cap says. They are way bigger than Neo and way bigger than Tron and way bigger than all these projects that are pretenders at this point. They really have no adoption at all. VeChain has all the adoption. They're already live. They're being used. They're working on the next version, VeChain 2. That's going to be even faster. They have some of the biggest companies on Earth and in China that's all utilizing some dApp that's running on VeChain or utilizing VeChain itself. They are absolutely huge. They will be top 10 eventually. I think it's just China needs to be more open about their crypto initiatives, and once they do, I think VeChain will go up in a big way. Morning Wood, I just asked you, why do you think XLM is underrated? You're not answering, because I don't think you can answer why you think it's underrated, because it's not underrated. It is where it is, because that's where it should be. There's nothing that makes it underrated, in my opinion. Didn't know one could short crypto. Yeah, I mean that's all the derivative stuff that's out there, like futures and options. You know, you see it all the time on exchanges. They're 5x, 20x, 100x leverage. It goes both ways. So you could short with that. You know, you can't do it on like Coinbase, but on all these other ones you can. See, that brings up why I think most people say things like you just did. Why it's underrated, because you have a heavy bag. People don't talk about it because there's nothing to talk about with Stellar. There's nothing going on. The last thing was they were helping the Ukrainian government come out their own stable coin. And that's it. Jeb McCaleb continue to sell XRP. They seems to have no ties with IBM anymore. WorldWire, that was supposed to be XRP competitor. That was led by IBM. That seems to have stopped. They have no other traction. I don't know what they're working on. So that's why no one talks about it. That's why they're not underrated, because they're not working on anything. Man, a lot of people tuning in right now. More and more people tuning in. Smash up the likes, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Unfortunately, you missed all the big news, so I'm going to recap it. Jeff Bezos is gone as CEO. Well, not yet, but soon. And his replacement, Andy Jassy, is a cloud guy, is a tech guy. He was the one that was behind their managed blockchain services, so that could be very, very big in terms of Amazon entering the crypto space, at least accepting payments. That is pretty big. Tomorrow, Grayscale could jumpstart another bull market because they're releasing more shares of their Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. And it just so happens to align for Bitcoin and corporations. That is coming out tomorrow too. And guess what? Guggenheim may be owners of Bitcoin now, because this massive outflows from Coinbase aligns to the exact amount they plan on purchasing, right? And F2 Pool, guess what? The number of Bitcoins they started to sell within the last few hours have dropped significantly. And I think it's due to us spreading the word. You could see that the selling pressure has decreased dramatically, and their pool hash rate has gone down so dramatically they have fallen to number 2. That's how amazing it is. A lot of hash power moved to another pool, right? So I think we had a lot to do with what has happened with Bitcoin and crypto overall. Bitcoin now flying above 36,000, Ethereum above 1,500, and overall the crypto market is moving up. So I think we applied enough pressure and they caved. Either they caved, or the miners, the whales that was on F2 Pool caved, or it's all lining up to something huge that starts tomorrow, right? But nevertheless, there's a lot of stuff happening. And you know what? We're in it for a ride, and it's looking pretty good. Is your hamster coming to Vegas? No. You still talking about Frosty? Frosties? Come on now. Ryan, I appreciate that. I've been trying to keep you guys informed. You know, a lot of my videos have been talking about it. Hopefully this is coming to a conclusion. Hopefully CryptoQuant can actually, they said that it would go spread the addresses between what belongs to a miner within a mining pool or the mining pool itself, right? So if they could spread it out, I think it's going to help, but still very suspicious that all the outflows was from one mining pool. And Chung Wang's his own personal memoirs made it very suspicious in terms of the type of character he is, and his tweets didn't help. He started deleting tweets right? So I forgot to show you guys this just yesterday. I tweeted out if there's any confusion whether or not F2 Pool was mass dumping BTC on the market, and then I retweeted a tweet from Chung. And guess what? He deleted that because he didn't want to seem like, he was, I don't know what, he just wanted to raise evidence. But this is the one that he deleted. We have mined over 1 million Bitcoins in the past decade. What we have sold in the past few weeks only represents less than 10% of our reserves. So whether or not he was joking, boastful, being cheeky, or threatening, we don't know. But he decided to delete that tweet, right? So his own behavior didn't help the situation, right? Had he just been more polite and forthcoming, he could have resolved all this. But I think we resolved it for him. I think our actions, spreading the word, getting the word out, letting people know, is having effect, and I think it can't be ignored. It's kind of like WSB, which is really good. Blade Runner, what do you think about Plutus? I've never heard that one. What project is this? Can't even find it. Is it a project? Or is that for something else? Justin Brown, LRC is a DEX AMM now. Liquidity up 7x. Check it out again. I'll have to. So I checked it this morning. I didn't see that they were a DEX. What's Loopring has their own DEX now? I mean, it makes sense if they're creating a protocol. I mean, their claim to fame before was they were very tight with Neo and Ontology. And then I found out now Zilliqa is very tight with Neo and Ontology. They're trying to bridge. I was looking up Zilliqa today, like what has been happening. They're going to do some interesting things. They have a DEX out already, but it's shared with like Neo or created by Neo developers. They're having a bridge where there's more interoperability between Neo, Ontology, and Zilliqa. They're also coming out with some kind of token development thing that's coming later this year. So that's kind of the reason why Zilliqa has been going up. But I got off the Zilliqa bandwagon when the founders left. But where's their DEX? This one? There we go. Yeah, they have their own DEX. And that makes sense. That makes sense why they would be going up if their DEX is doing pretty good. I missed this morning. It may make me rethink about this project now that they have their own DEX. Okay. Thanks for paying me to pay attention to it. That's the best of both worlds. But I appreciate it, in all honesty. So I'll look at them again. Pluton. Come on. Now you just wasted another $2 by mistyping. Come on now. Don't be looking at projects that's worth 4.5 million in market cap. You know that's not gonna do well. But I will look at it anyway since you wasted $4. So it is on Uniswap. It's on KuCoin, BitMax. I don't hear anyone talk about BitMax anymore. Superman once upon a time really shilled BitMax and everything to do with BitMax, but I don't hear anyone talk about them anymore. Plutus, bank on crypto, receive a UK sort code and account number or European IBAN within minutes. Okay. And why do you want that? So you could say that you're from Europe. Spend crypto anywhere. Contactless Visa card with either fiat. Okay. I mean, this is nice, but a lot of other companies now offer this. Swap DEX. Crypto assets under DEX. Okay. Tyler, appreciate the super chat. Okay. So there are DEX. They offer a credit card. I don't get quite exactly why you want a UK sort code or account number or European IBAN within minutes. I don't get why you want that, but I guess you could. John. I am not. I am not, but I appreciate that. It makes me feel good. Badger Dow, man, there's a lot of super chats coming in. You guys are just piling on. International bank account number is okay. So yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't want an IBAN, but I mean, it's not bad project. I haven't looked into the founders or anything, but it's not a good amount of exchanges. The market cap scares me. The circulating supply compared to max supply scares me. And what they do, I don't know what the benefit of this right off the bat, but other stuff, very competitive. So Blade Runner, I would say look somewhere else. Badger now, I've been hearing a lot about, but they're on Uniswap. Yeah, they weren't they so yeah, I looked at this the other day. I don't quite understand it. It looks like yield farming or something like that. So let's look at it. Let's cheat and look at this summary here. Badger's decentralized autonomous organization with a single purpose: build the products and infrastructure necessary to sell the Bitcoin as collateral across other blockchains. Okay, that doesn't really explain this. It looks like you could stake, and it looks like it's for yield farming. So that description does not match this at all. So I don't know. It could be good. I'm not too thrilled by looking at this. Mark. All right, this stream went much longer than I anticipated. So Mark, first of all, it's on Uniswap only, 7 million, very, very, very low market cap. Benchmark protocol is supply elastic collateral and hedging device driven by the volatility index. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like the sound of that. Supply elastic collateral and hedging device. The Mark token augments supply based on special drawing rights. SDR is a composite international reserve asset comprised of okay. So they're trying to create some algorithmic stablecoin that's backed by a lot of these your currencies. Yeah, no. Not a fan. Not a fan. Not a fan of when someone's trying to create some kind of bridge or global currency, because that's going to be either Bitcoin or no other crypto. So I just don't see it. I don't see it. Not a fan. These crypto credit cards, Mr. Corey asked, these crypto credit cards better transfer into fiat or purchases, right? Doesn't make any sense to pay for stuff with appreciating crypto. What are you talking about? These crypto credit cards, well, if it's a debit card, yeah, you are spending your crypto. That's the whole point of having a crypto debit card. Now, if you're thinking about credit cards that are paying crypto in rewards, that's a different story. So, but yeah, crypto debit cards, you are spending your crypto. How do you buy Theta in the US? That's a good question, because I had a lot of Theta left over from before, but I know it used to be Binance. Now, you're gonna have to get it somewhere else. One of these other exchanges that I'm not sure. HitBDC I used before. I don't like. Gate.io I've used. They're open to U.S. citizens. OKX I haven't used. Yeah, it's kind of tough. I would say look at Gate.io out of this list. Huobi is good, but I don't know if Huobi Global is open to U.S. residents either. So I would say look at Gate.io. Gabriel, how do you feel about DAI? I like their team. And then Pre. I thought it was an interesting project. I'll answer Austin first, because I did look up Pre-Search before. They're trying to become like the Google of blockchain, where you can search basically anything and find it through all these blockchains. I mean, it sounds interesting in theory, but I don't know about the execution, right? Whether or not they can really hook up and search all these blockchains. So I don't know. I mean, I think right now we all know that something like Google is very, very powerful and also dangerous at the same time, right? So people are looking for decentralized search, but it's very, very tough to come out with a decentralized search engine that can compete with the likes of Google. It is really tough. Really, really, really tough. So not to say that it can't be done, but it's going to be tough. So, I mean, overall, pre-search, they've been around for a while. I've heard of them for a while now. But in terms of traction, I just don't know how much they have at this point. It doesn't seem like anyone's talking about it or utilizing it. So, you know, that's my honest take. How do you feel about DAI? Man, you guys need to stop these. I need to go. Never heard of DAI or DI. They are on Binance, which is good in terms of pumpability. Market cap relatively low. Verified and transparent oracles for a DeFi economy. Decentralized information asset, an open source oracle platform that enables market actors to source supply. Okay, so right away I'll tell you this, that because they are an oracle play, there goes struggle. There goes struggle. The reason being because, you know what? If you're a DeFi project and you are in the business of lending out and you need to know the price to the T and make sure that it will never be wrong, never go down, never be hacked, you're not going to trust DAI over Chainlink. It's just not going to happen. Chainlink has proven itself. People have tried to hack it, and they have proven that they can defend themselves against a hack. And they also proven that their Oracle, decentralized Oracle network is up all the time. And they haven't really suffered any setbacks as far as I can remember, while others have, right? So it's going to be tough for any oracles at this point to compete with Chainlink. Doesn't mean that they can't go up, but for them to get true adoption and steal thunder away from Chainlink, that's going to be very, very, very tough. Very tough indeed. Amar, I like Elrond. I did not look at their new app yet, but let's just look at it real quick. But Elrond overall is a good project. So it's their wallet and payment app. I haven't checked it out yet. But Elrond, I like the team mostly because they have a tight connection with Binance. They invested in Binance very early on. And also, they invest in other projects too, like BAT. So they're well off from their investments. But they have a tight integration. They have a good blockchain, very scalable, very fast. But a lot of other blockchains also have that. But you know what? This looks pretty good. This wallet and payments app, right? So I have to test out and play around with it and see how good it is. So overall, I like the project. I think they're pretty good. They're onto something for sure. All right, guys, I got to let you guys go. This is way longer than I expected. So overall, we got some very, very bullish news. Very bullish news indeed, right? A lot of big things coming. We also have F2 Pool. They seem to have calmed themselves down in terms of their selling. Their hash rate has dropped. I think we had a lot to do with it. Blockchain for Business is coming. Grayscale is coming. Guggenheim is coming. And overall, altcoins are coming. So definitely exciting time overall. So I love it. Jordan, we could talk afterwards. I appreciate you signing up. We'll talk afterwards. All right. Take care, guys. Have a good night until tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.